The Rich Man and the Poor Water Seller. A folk tale of kindness, pride, and true wealth. Long ago, before the coming of tarred roads and roaring machines, there lay a small village nestled between wide stretches of dry earth and distant blue hills. The village was called Umudara, a place where the wind carried dust in the dry season and hope in the rainy months. The sun in Umudara was fierce, rising early and setting late, as though it wished to test the strength of the people who lived beneath it. Life there was not easy, yet the villagers endured, guided by tradition, community, and the belief that tomorrow could always be better than today. In this village lived two men whose lives could not have been more different, yet whose destinies were tied together by fate. The rich man of Umudara. The first was Chief Obinna, the richest man in Umudara and in many surrounding villages. His name alone carried weight. When people spoke of wealth, they spoke of Obinna. When traders traveled from faraway towns, they sought his compound first. His house was not just a home, but a fortress of abundance, built with thick mud walls, decorated with carved wooden pillars, and roofed with shining zinc that glistened in the sun. Inside his compound were storehouses, filled with yams stacked like small hills, barns heavy with grains, and rooms packed with sacks of salt, cloth, and dried fish. His farm stretched far beyond the village boundary, tended by hired hands and laborers who worked from dawn till dusk. His cattle grazed freely, his goats bleated proudly, and his chickens roamed as if they owned the land. Yet for all this wealth, Chief Obinna was known for something else, his pride. He believed riches were proof of wisdom and power. In his mind, poverty was a sign of laziness, and kindness was something only the weak needed. When elders gathered to discuss village matters, he spoke loudly and listened little. When the poor came to him for help, he turned them away or gave them crumbs wrapped in insults. "Why should I help you?" he often asked. "Did I not work for my wealth?" Few dared to challenge him. After all, his money could build or break lives. But among the villagers, whispers followed his footsteps. "He is rich," they said, "but his heart is poorer than an empty calabash." The poor water seller. The second man was called Madu, a poor water seller. His house was small, made of mud and thatch, with a door that creaked when opened. He lived there with his wife, Ngozi, and their two children, Chiamaka and Ifeanyi. They owned no land, no cattle, and no storehouse of food. What they had were clay pots, strong necks, and willing hands. Every morning, long before the rooster crowed, Madu rose from his sleeping mat. He washed his face with a little water saved from the night before, whispered a short prayer of gratitude, and stepped into the cool darkness. Balancing two empty clay pots on his head and shoulders, he walked toward the stream at the edge of the village. The path to the stream was long and uneven. Sometimes thorns tore at his feet, and sometimes snakes slithered away at the sound of his steps. But Madu never complained. At the stream, he carefully filled his pots with clear water, covering them with leaves to keep out dirt. Then he lifted them onto his head and began his daily journey through the village. "Fresh water. Clean water," he called gently as he walked. "Water for drinking. Water for cooking." The coins he earned were few, but they were enough. Enough to buy Gary, enough to cook soup, enough to keep his children in simple clothes. More importantly, enough to keep hope alive in his household. Though poor, Madu was rich in spirit. He greeted everyone with respect, shared jokes with children, and offered water freely to the sick and elderly when they could not pay. His wife often worried. "Madu," Ngozi would say, "if you give too much, what will remain for us?" Madu would smile and reply, "If kindness dries up, then our lives will dry up too." The dry season begins. One year, the dry season came earlier and harsher than anyone expected. The rains that usually softened the earth delayed their arrival. The sun burned fiercely, cracking the soil and turning green leaves brown. Streams that once sang with flowing water grew quiet. Wells sank lower each day. Villagers began to worry. Women woke earlier to fetch water before it disappeared. Children queued with small buckets, hoping to return home with something, anything. Chief Obinna watched all this from the comfort of his compound. At first he laughed. "Water or no water," he said confidently, "money will always buy what I need." But even his confidence would soon be tested. The day of thirst. One scorching afternoon, Chief Obinna was overseeing work in his compound. The sun beat down mercilessly. Sweat poured down his face, soaking his fine robes. His mouth grew dry and his head began to spin. "Bring me water!" he shouted. No answer. He called again, louder this time. But his servants were away searching for water, for even the well inside his compound had dried up completely. As he stood there, irritated and thirsty, he heard a familiar voice from outside the gate. "Fresh water! Clean water!" It was Madu. Chief Obinna called him in without greeting. "Give me water, quickly." Madu bowed respectfully, set down his pot, and poured a bowl of clear water. The rich man drank greedily, spilling some on the ground. Relief washed over him. When he finished, Madu waited quietly. "Well?" Chief Obinna asked. "Sir," Madu said gently, "the water is 2 coins. The rich man's face darkened. "2 coins? For water? In my own house?" "Yes, sir," Madu replied. "It is my work." Chief Obinna scoffed. "You should be honored that I drank your water. Go!" Madu tried to speak, but the rich man waved him away angrily. With a heavy heart, the water seller lifted his pots and left. Consequences of pride. Days turned into weeks. The dry season worsened. Water became more precious than gold. Even Chief Obinna's wealth could not summon rain or refill empty streams. Traders stopped coming. Servants grew weak. His animals cried out in thirst. He offered large sums of money, but there was no water to buy. At night, thirst haunted his dreams. The meeting of humility. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky red, Chief Obinna stumbled outside his compound, weak and desperate. That was when he saw Madu again, still carrying his pots. "Please," the rich man whispered, swallowing his pride, "give me water." Madu looked at him for a long moment. Then he smiled and poured him water without asking for payment. Chief Obinna was stunned. "Why?" he asked. Madu replied softly, "Because kindness is richer than gold." A changed heart. From that day, Chief Obinna changed. He paid fairly, helped the poor, and treated people with respect. He repaired wells, supported water sellers, and learned to bow his head. Umudara slowly healed, and when the rains finally came, they washed away not just dust, but pride. Moral of the story: true wealth is not measured by riches, but by kindness and humility. Those who share life's water will never truly be poor, and those who hoard without compassion will always thirst.